Okay, so this started off as a sketch that I did. I was looking at it and I thought, you know, hey, this would be fun to turn into more of a fully rendered image. It's just image of, you know, Equestria Girls Twilight, kind of doing a cool, like, magic, ultimate, you know, sort of a thing, you know, all that kind of fun stuff. So I'm running on Adobe Photoshop CS2 because I could get it for free, and I'm running on a laptop that is about 6 years old, and it is currently on its way to its grave. It is definitely dying, and so this project served as kind of the nail in the coffin for all that. There's quite a bit of things that went down. Yeah, so I was having a little trouble trying to get the hair to look kind of like, well, look like hair floating in the air. Specifically because I was also trying to kind of keep that same look with Twilight. She has that chopped hair kind of look. And so this is when we start crashing. And that's gonna happen a lot. So I wanted to, I thought it'd be cool to have her glasses kind of floating off of her face, but you could still see the lenses, see through the lenses and like see what's behind them. Pretty much every decision that I made regarding this picture is, wouldn't it be cool if this was this? So yeah, sorry you didn't get to see that footage. It's gone. OBS crashed. But so one of my high priorities for my art is to always try and make sure that everything looks like it exists in the 3D space. So I was having some trouble with the mouth, so you can actually see that I'm drawing out the skull underneath, just kind of a rough version of that. Just to try and make sure that I get like the good head shape, good placement of the mouth, try and figure out the underlying structure. You don't need to do this all the time, but it really helps figure out what's going on underneath the skin. And because I haven't I haven't drawn faces recently. I've been working mostly on 3D modeling and stuff lately. So I was getting a little rusty. So here I am just kind of refining the lines, trying to flesh out more of the structure of that infernal hair, trying to figure out just what it is. So here I'm checking the silhouette, just kind of underlying some dark colors underneath it to make sure that it reads well, and also to kind of help with where I want the hair to go on the other side of the face. It's good to check the silhouette to make sure that you can still kind of see what the character is doing even without all the detailed lines and everything, because that'll help help the action read much better on a subconscious level to the viewer. So yeah, I'm just refining things, adding details, you know, that kind of good stuff. Yay, work PC. I was finished with stuff I needed to do for the day, so I got to work a little bit on a fancy new Photoshop. So I got some feedback on that sketch, that initial line work sketch sort of thing. So the hand needed fixing with the anatomy. The fingers were too short, and the thumb was kind of wonky. So here, just cleaning up the lines. That rotate button is a godsend. It really helps, and CS2 doesn't have that function on it, so it was a nice treat to be able to use that, especially when cleaning up the lines. So now I'm just blocking in the colors, trying to get the basic tones and values that I want for the image. You'll see that the sweater is not actually show accurate to Twilight in the show, because I said screw it and I didn't want to draw that sweater because I didn't like the look of it. So you can do that. So here I thought it'd be cool to do a white hot look to the fingertips, give it really saturated with magical energy. So now I'm just refining the colors that I blocked in, basically adding more detail. It's all a process of blocking in your basic shapes, your basic colors, that kind of thing, and then refining it later. And it makes it so that you can make sure the composition looks good at first, and then you can go in with the details and do all those. Because if you do the details first and then you realize your composition is crap, then it's a whole lot harder to change that, and you'll see that in a bit when I get some feedback and I realize that there are a few things wrong, specifically with the face shape and where it's placed and everything, and changing that after I've already put in all those details was quite a hassle. So now I'm adding highlights to things. Once again, you get your base color, you get your base texture, things like that, and then you add shading to it, and then I like to add the highlights last. It's kind of almost like a surprise, like finally the thing that really makes it pop and makes it look, oh yeah, this is an actual thing now. Not just some colors that I put on a screen, but this is an actual drawing now. Once you put in the highlights, it's kind of almost like the payoff. See that? See how once I added the highlights, boom, it turned into an actual object? I love that. Now I'm just adding, environmental elements, cool swirly things, and yeah. Basically, number one rule for this picture is rule of cool. If it looks cool, go for it. I also thought it would be pretty cool to put in a ring of books floating around her, Avatar state style. So once again, blocking in the basic colors and getting the basic colors down, and then refining those later and getting that down, making it look like an object. Put in some cool flares for the lenses. Just like cool effects and stuff. So I got some feedback on that picture, and there's some pretty glaring things wrong with it. It was brought to my attention, specifically the values didn't have enough contrast. So you saw that I was checking it with a black and white, grayscale filter, and you could see that once you take away the hue of the color, it didn't have enough contrast. So I made the background darker, I made her hand lighter, because when you don't have enough contrast in the values, they may be different colors, but subconsciously it won't read as a different color. It's weird. It confuses your brain and makes it, less pleasing to look at. So you can see here that I needed to fix some face things. Ear was a little close. The neck was extremely long, like even for me. So I had to move that, back. And so now here I have to go through every layer, and that's when things start crashing as well. So I lost about an hour and a half of work. I have to start all over. So you can see why it's beneficial to make sure everything looks good before you start adding in color and detail, because if something is wrong and you need to change it later, it's much more difficult. And well, in traditional mediums, it's impossible because the paint is already on the page and you can't change it. Here is where I start getting pretty frustrated, just because it kept crashing and I kept losing work, and every time I'd save, it would take about 5 minutes each time I saved. So working about 50% efficiency, I got so fed up at one point that I think in between these crashes, I went and I just took a break, and I went and I watched the Forgotten Friendship new short, which was so good. I loved it. So now I'm just fixing, little things here and there. That's kind of what the rest of this process is just fixing things here and there, just once again, refining, getting it to something that I'm happy with. This was a pretty challenging build, more so than I think I was expecting at the beginning. But all in all, I learned a lot, and I think the result is looking pretty sweet. I would have to say, this is probably my favorite build of the season. Okay, so tasteless man-at-arms plagiarism aside, I think the thing to take away from this is that it doesn't matter what kind of software or hardware you have. I was able to make this on a 13-year-old version of Photoshop using a dying laptop that was never meant to act as a workstation. So don't let yourself get into the mindset that you need the best software or hardware to make your art, because that's absolutely not true. My name is Davis Johnson. I go under the artist name of Tadpole. I am a professional artist. I want to say thanks for watching. Now go out and make your own art, because the world needs more of it. See ya.